All right. Well, one person, and one person in particular, is getting their wish. Congratulations, Fox, for redeeming the Choose a Franchise. And, well, shout out to Pop and Peppa on the 22 months on the primer. Thank you for that. We are, of course, going to be using the 2009-2010 Snipe and Score custom roster. And we will be looking to replicate some, not all, but some of the success that the Tampa Bay Lightning had, as I am kicking myself every day. I'm not. It's fine. It is what it is. I think we will probably have numerous playthroughs on this roster because, damn, why wouldn't we? You know? I mean, especially with the way this looks. But we are going to jump into Custom League. And we are going to set up a 2010 style of world. So it is 30 teams, 6 divisions. We are dropping the salary cap max down to $57 million. And of course, there is a video up on Snipe's channel, SnipeNScoreProductions, and the YouTube side of things that goes all over all of this as well. The salary cap minimum is going to be the $41 million. Max player salary, 11.4, with the minimum being 515. And the rookie salary max is 915. Of course, these numbers do go up throughout the subsequent seasons. NHL schedule, we got 82, 24, 40, and 18 in terms of the schedule that is there. In terms of the standings, we're going to do the 4-on-4 overtime. 2 points, 2 points, 2 points, 1 point, 1 point, 0 point, 0 point, because not much of a change there. Playoff qualification is based on conference with playoff reseeding. You got 8 teams per conference. The tiebreakers are all still the same. Playoff format as well, still the same, obviously. Nothing really changes there, to my knowledge. In terms of the AHL, 2 conferences, 4 divisions. That's straightforward enough. The schedule is 80, 36, 32, and 12. And then we have the standings format. The 4-on-4 overtime, 2 point, 2 point, 2 point, 1 point, no points. And then playoffs, divisional based. Everything there is looking good. Point structure ends up being the same as well. So all of that is good. And we shall see. Nipsey, what's going on? Don't ban me. Hey, I'm glad the Eagles won. You won't get any complaint from me. I hope you've been well, dude. Hope you have been good. All right. Well, it's not going to be the Iser plan, Fox. It's going to be the my plan. In terms of substitutions, we do have to make a few. Now, the good thing is for like Anaheim and everything, we don't have to worry about it, which is nice. But we are going to have to sub out a couple of options. The first is the Winnipeg Jets. We go to custom team and we import the Atlanta Thrashers. And, of course, we also need the Utah Hockey Club being out for the Hooked on Phoenix Coyotes. With that particular logo. God, it was the jobbing.com arena, which is kind of nuts. But, again, we also went through everything. If you guys missed that, easy enough to find with the VOD on Twitch, or I'll end up uploading it on YouTube. But we're going to be Tampa. We're going to be Tampa. Fox doesn't want a challenge. I'm going to keep giving him a hard time. But top players, San Luis, LeCavalier, Alex Tanguay. Not a bad way to start, I would say. We do have to go through and, of course, fix up all of the conferences and all of that fun nonsense, as you do. Give me 1 second here just to make sure I have everything correct. And we'll do what we have to do. We will. I'll actually bring up the 2010 standings because we do have some pieces to move. But then, hey, once they're moved, we're good to go. So for our first conference, we of course have the Eastern Conference. Let's see what we can do here. See how fast we can update some of this stuff. I don't know why I deleted conference when I could have just left it, but Eastern Conference, and in terms of the divisions, God, the divisions were so weird, by the way. You had the Northeast Division, which is still just weird. I guess I should put it in all caps, huh? And the rest of it is. But we have the Northeast Division. Let me just make sure the conference, okay, it switches to caps no matter what. That's really weird. You got the Eastern Conference, the Northeast Division, the Atlantic Division, and then my favorite is the one after that with the Southeast. The Southeast Division, featuring notable Southeastern teams such as the Washington Capitals. The NHL. The NHL never change, especially with the Metro Division, you know? So the Northeast Division, we need the Buffalo Sabres. We need to make sure that we grab, where are they? The Ottawa Senators, the Boston Bruins, of course, the Montreal Canadiens, and of course, dead last in the standings in that actual year, it was Toronto. So that is a look at the Northeast Division. The Atlantic had the New Jersey Devils, the Pittsburgh Penguins, of course, who are already there, the Philadelphia Flyers, the New York Rangers, and the New York Islander. So a couple of 84s in the mix there, Penguins and Devils. And then the Southeast Division. You had the previously mentioned Washington Capitals. They were the only team, by the way, out of the Southeast Division to make the playoffs that year. We add in the Atlanta Thrashers, the Carolina Hurricanes, the Tampa Bay Lightning, of course, and last but not least, the Florida Panthers. So that is the division that we are going to be dealing with. Yeah, that's a try. I mean, hey, you know, for as much of a hard time as I've given Fox, like, Tampa wasn't a great team that year, you know? Obviously, I don't know how many people are going to be excited to see the idea of Tampa winning a cup, but we're going to do it. Then, of course, we have the Western Conference that we need to set up because Custom League, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And the divisions in the West, we had, at the time, the Pacific. The Pacific Division. We had, you'll be shocked to know, the Central Division. And because NHL, there was the Northwest Division. There we go. So in the Pacific, you had, of course, the San Jose Sharks. You had the Phoenix Coyotes, the Los Angeles Kings, the Anaheim Ducks, and the Dallas Stars. The Central Division was Chicago, Detroit, Nashville, St. Louis, and the Columbus Blue Jackets. And the Northwest Division was Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver, Minnesota, and Colorado. What a time. That's all I can say at this point is just what a time, huh? Damn. Just double checking, making sure everything's good, but we are good. Again, the Thrashers are in. We're looking good. And then, hopefully, it's not going to make me rename all this shit, because I also got to substitute out AHL teams. I actually might have done that out of order. We might have to change the names again, which is fine. We'll deal with it if the if the situation arises, because I always forget you got to do things in a certain order, and it's pretty annoying. But we go to the AHL, and this is where we have a lot of the swapping out for the actual AHL teams at the time. So you have Grand Rapids just being swapped out for a different version of Grand Rapids. Custom team. The other version of the Grand Rapids Griffins. And let me see if that broke the NHL. Yep, I'm going to have to rename those. I knew it. Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. That's the one thing I forget about Custom League is, oh, wow, it even threw the teams all over the place again. Well, hey, we'll fix that up quickly. But for the AHL, you got Grand Rapids. For New York, you will still end up with a different version of the Hartford Wolfpack. I fucking hate that about Custom League. I get why it does it, but it's so annoying. Instead of the Laval Rockets, it's the return of the Hamilton Bulldogs. God, is it me or is this slower than it used to be? Instead of the Ontario Reign, the pride of New Hampshire, Manchester Monarchs. This is definitely slower than it used to be. But whatever, if I'm suffering through it, then you have to. At least if you're, watching on Twitch. I guess people that'll watch on YouTube later can skip through it. But then they'll complain that they have to skip through it when they have the option to skip through it. Rockford ends up sticking around. Go Hogs. Just realized we had the Ice Hogs and the Iowa Chops. The Texas Stars. Gotta add them in as well. Their interesting logo. Again, he had limitations, of course. And then the Toronto Marlies. Get the Marlies in there. Now, I do believe, again, for some of these teams, you could technically just leave, but, if you want the accurate, jersey concepts at the time and stuff like that, that's what you got to do. Vancouver. We need to add the Manitoba Moose. Let's see, for the... Whoops, well, I hit Calgary. I mean, that's fine. We can just add in the Abbotsford Heat. Didn't mean to do that out of order, but it's fine. Let's go to the Bridgeport Islander, which will be the appropriate Bridgeport Sound Tigers. Such a better name. And a more logical name. Lehigh Valley still ends up being Lehigh. Actually, no, that's right. They were the Adirondack Phantoms at the time. I lied. The Rochester Amerks, you're going to be shocked to know, aren't the Rochester Amerks, actually. It was the Portland Pirates. I was mistaken when we were talking about the AHL team. This was before the switch. Just before the switch. We still had the old Portland Pirates with Buffalo. St. Louis at the time was with the Peoria Rivermen. Shout out to Peoria. I don't know anything about Peoria. The Utica Comets for New Jersey. That becomes the Massachusetts Devils because Lowell isn't a city name in the game. It's really weird to me. But okay. You're not going to believe it. Wilkes-Barre. Still Wilkes-Barre. Let's see. What else do we have here? Bakersfield for Edmonton. We switch them over to the Springfield Falcons. God, from Springfield, Massachusetts to Edmonton for games. It's really not a wonder as to why the AHL relocation happened as it did throughout the 2010s. The Belleville Sens, we got to switch them to be the Binghamton Senators. The Chicago Wolves will... Actually, who does Chicago get switched to? In the game, Chicago's still tied to Carolina, aren't they? I'm pretty sure. Which means... Yeah, Carolina's still tied to Chicago in this game. I don't know why I'm blanking on that. Remember when I said it was a long day when we were going through everything? No, I'm gonna play it safe. I'm gonna play it safe, damn it. Because then, of course, Charlotte's tied to Florida, which is just fucking weird. So Florida was with Rochester, which was also weird because, Jesus, the travel. The Cleveland Monsters. We need to switch you to the Syracuse Crunch. Columbus was with them at the time. The Iowa Wild end up becoming the Houston Aeros. Can't wait to see if I make a mistake with the AHL. I'm going to be so disappointed if I do. Who else do we have to move here? The Colorado Eagles, that's easy enough. Colorado for the Lake Erie Night Monsters. The San Jose Barracuda become the Worcester Shacks. I hate that the Worcester Shacks aren't around anymore. Let's see. Tucson. Need you to become the San Antonio Rampage. Quick and easy there. Let's see. The Hershey Bears. You're not going to believe it. The Hershey Bears are the Hershey Bears. Where is San Diego? Anaheim. Perfect AHL team location. Iowa. With the Iowa Chops. So dumb. The Milwaukee Admirals were still the Milwaukee Admirals at the time. And then for us in Tampa, we have the actual Syracuse Crunch. And that will be switched out to the Norfolk Admirals. And we don't have too many left now. Manitoba Moose, which ends up being the Chicago Wolves. So yeah, Carolina, we go back to the Chicago Wolves and switch them over to the Albany River Rats, which, by the way, I saw that they were bringing back like River Rat tribute jerseys, which are pretty cool. Did we get everybody? Did we get everybody? I think we did. All right. Empty slot. Can't add anything if I substitute Worcester. I think we got everybody. We did. Cool. That's right. The All-Star game was in Portland, hence those setups there. All right, cool. So the last thing that we need to do is, again, reorganize the fucking conferences and shit. It's very annoying. So we have the Eastern Conference. I'll spare people the trouble of the NHL renaming. But within the Eastern Conference, you have the Atlantic Division. You have the stunningly named East Division. And in the West, I know, big surprise, there's an Eastern Conference and a Western Conference, right? Big surprise. In the West, you had... See, this doesn't make any sense at all. But you had the North Division and the West Division. Beautiful. I will say the AHL setup makes a hell of a lot more sense nowadays. But the Atlantic Division... We need the Worcester Sharks. We need the Portland Pirates. We already have the Manchester Monarchs. We need the old Massachusetts/Lowell Devils, the Bridgeport Sound Tigers, the Hartford Wolfpack, the Providence Bruins, and Springfield Falcons. For the East Division, it was the Hershey Bears, the Albany River Rats, the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins. We had the Norfolk Admirals, the Binghamton Senators, the Syracuse Crunch, and the Adirondack Phantoms. The North Division, you had Hamilton, Rochester, Abbotsford. Holy shit, the travel. Oh my God, just some of the travel for some of the teams coming up, too. Just crazy. You got the Manitoba Moose. The Marlies are already here. Lake Erie Monsters and the Grand Rapids Griffins. The AHL was a mess, man. They really were. That is nuts. But it's looking good. Again, just got to redo the NHL stuff. All right. We are good. Unless something screwed up somewhere along the way. Maybe put the wrong AHL team with somebody. I don't know. But we are good to go in terms of the realignment. Owner mode will be off because it's annoying. Edit lines will be off. Fog of War will be off. That's fine. Player morale, I really don't mind having that on. Computer trades are fine. Everything there looks good. There we go. We got the Norfolk Admirals as our AHL team. Custom league settings, of course, we already went over everything, so everything's going to be good there. Quick settings. Auto scouting's fine. Waivers on. Trade difficulty on hard. As always, difficulty, just put it on superstar. It does not matter. Ender, how did the stream go? How the heck are you? We'll turn off injuries because, again, people hate when I play with injuries on, I feel like. So, maybe we won't, though. Maybe we won't. Maybe we'll leave it on. We'll see if I get annoyed by it. Retired jersey numbers will be off. Scouting assignment, no, we'll turn that off. That's fine. Morale meetings never pop up anyway. Waiver notifications, fine. Trade offer notifications. If I want to trade, I always just do it, which is fine. Head coach firing, we won't have the actual head coaches, so put the draft class quality on low because of all the real dudes that we have. Let's go medium for the scoring and the shooting. Let's see. Outplayed a Groot and Bears. I somewhat understand what the hell you just said. We'll turn that up. Turn the game speed down a smidge. Injury occurrence. We'll put this bad boy on. 9 was always the magic number for some reason over the years. We'll go back to a magical number 9. All right. Tampa Bay Lightning in 2009, 2010. All right. This should be interesting. Especially because we're never going to have a player picture throughout this entire run, by the way. So be prepared for that. Obviously, coaching staff, we won't touch at all for the first season. So the biggest thing that we need to pay attention to, first and foremost, is, again, some of the guys that we have down in the system. I don't think we'll have anybody listed as unsigned. Okay, we do. We have Carter Ashton, Richard Panik, and Mark Barbario. Not exactly the strongest group of guys, but we will let them play down in junior without signing them. Ooh, the clauses are in too, huh? This will be fun. Only thing I need to check is just, there's a part of my brain that's like, make sure you didn't make an AHL mistake. So again, like the Ducks have Bonino, that's good. Atlanta has Tim Stapleton, Jason Krogh. Bruins have McQuaid, Gerby. Calgary, like Chris Chuko. Carolina, Drayson Bowman. All right, I don't think I ended up making a mistake. Chicago looks fine. Colorado's got Shattenkirk. And again, we did take that in-depth look of everything. So if you're wanting to see full teams, that is available to you. Ooh, Edmonton has Jordan Eberle unsigned. Maybe we should have looked through junior for that reason alone, but we'll see what some of these guys end up looking like throughout this. But, all right. Well, if I made a mistake, it was for like one team only at best, so I'm not worried about it now. We won't do anything with the staff members. To be honest, the only real thing we have to do right now is just get a look at what this team's going to look like for Season 1. Mike Smith, Antero Nidimaki in goal. Perfect. Defensively, Oland, Mazzaros, Hedman, Foster, Lundin, Walker, and Smobby. Maybe Smobby. Paul Ranger is ready to go. And then David Hale also needs to be considered. Now, God, we got $15 million in cap space as well. Hold on. What was the roster space that we had? Only 3 spots. Are we? And again, some of the free agents that are out there are nuts, but we are not really in a position to be able to sign anybody. I just need to make sure that we are above the cap floor, and we are barely above the cap floor. I'm going to give the AI teams time to be like, hey, will somebody sign Yager? Just because I don't want to like guarantee we get all the best free agents. So we'll give it time, but we will probably have to sign a cap whale. Yeah, I mean, 15 million in space is crazy, though. Only thing I was tempted by was if we signed these guys and then sent them to junior, at least we could get the training on them. Maybe not so much Carter Ashton, but Panik and Barbario might at least benefit from some of the training. Let's take a look one more time at who we have here, though. So with the goalies, I mean, it's Dustin Tokarski, Riku Hellenius, and Yaroslav Janus. We're not going to be doing the goalie training. But defensively, definitely be a thing. But most of these guys have god-awful potentials. Yeah. All right. That's maybe 24. Walker. All right. If those 2 guys go down, we call up Paul Ranger. I'm going to allow this team to just have a mess of the lefty-righty dynamic because I have no choice. But those will be the 6 defensemen to start the year. And, I mean, Matt Walker, with how much he gets paid, we'll have him on the NHL roster. So, like, yes, we do have Victor Hedman at 18 years old, for God's sakes. But, man, we got some work to do for the blue line. What do we have for the forwards? San Luis, Downey, Bochenski. Adam Hall needs to be on this team, ideally. So we'll send down Wright for the moment. San Luis, Downey, Hall, Bochenski is a depth forward. Mark Parrish is a depth forward. And then, again, just a bunch of dudes that aren't going anywhere fast. Eddie Purcell, Todd Fedoruk. I mean, Alex Killorn, who I hope will develop. He's kind of the only guy that I really need to make sure is called up for training purposes. We'll see if there's anybody else. And then at center, of course, Baby Stamkos. We do have Craig there. Shura, Blair Jones, Dana Terrell. I mean, Dana Terrell's a medium bottom 6 at least. I mean, there's definitely a couple of guys we could send down. There aren't really too many guys, though, that I'm worried about calling up to get the training. So I don't think we have to worry about the guys from the AHL either. It just kind of is what it is. Although I do want to get Craig onto the team. Yeah, maybe we send down Teddy Purcell then. I'm surprised he's a depth forward, but we'll deal with it. So we kind of have our 21 there. It's a matter of who will end up playing, but not too many younger guys to call up to make sure that they're in the lineup, you know? Not much going on. Captains and jerseys, a Cavalier captain, San Luis with a letter, Matthias Olin with a letter. Makes sense. Okay, so the only thing we need to do is kind of get our training set up, and then some of these players we need to establish some goals for the season. So Clarence Jaffray is apparently our coach. Goal for the season. Some kinks to work out, but we're good enough to compete for a playoff spot. Sure. I don't disagree with that. And then our preseason focus. Oh, it's always a question of what to focus on. The awarenesses, the 5v5 focus is still very strong. Obviously, the passing boost to focus on the power play is very strong as well. What do we want to take the hit on here? Honestly, I mean, the strength training is not the worst thing in the world either. I mean, we do have a pretty physical team. But we are thinking about what might help us on the score sheet. Let's be honest, we have guys like Steve Downey on the team. Screw it, you know what? For season 1, let's embrace the physicality. Why not? With some of the goons we have on this team, let's embrace the physicality. All right. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but we do want to make use of some of these goals for the season. Someone like Mike Smith, I don't think we're looking at a Vezina winner here. But if we can still get him to, let's say, 9-10 save percentage this year, we should be good. Not going to worry about Nidimaki. Yeah, even in the system, again, we just don't have that much going on. Andre Mazzaros. Listed as a two-way. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I don't think he's going to be this big point getter for us, though. I don't think he's going to be a big award winner for us either, right? With the shot blocking, maybe he'd block a decent amount of shots. I think it's going to be, I mean, it's him or Oland on the top power play with Hedman. Because obviously, like, a big focus for us needs to be developing Victor Hedman into what he became in real life. I don't really know if there is a good goal to set for Mazzaros. I don't know if there is. Maybe he would be able to get the assist. I want you to be able to stay on the roster for the entire season. You know what I just remembered is everyone is technically going to be up for Rookie of the Year as well. So we definitely don't want to set anybody to compete for Rookie of the Year aside from like Martin St. Louis. So yeah, for Mazzaros, maybe we just go for the shot block. I don't know. I need to see what he's capable of offensively, and I'm not going to see it this season. Only thing that I want to do is try to get him to develop into a right side defender. And he's not willing to try. I got to try that with a pretty good amount of people here. Matthias Oland, listed as a defensive defenseman, so Mazzaros will definitely be on the power play. Not much to do with Oland, really. I mean, we're not going to be like, hey, win the Norris. Best we can do is just try to get him to improve his shot blocking as well. Which, whoops, I didn't mean to go play style. I have to go on ice. See if we can get him to develop right D. It looks like he's at least willing to try, which is good as a defensive defenseman. And then your goal for the season. Block some shots, man. That's all I can ask you to do. Block some shots. We need you. He's probably going to be the one playing with Victor Hedman, by the way. Just makes sense, I think. Curtis Foster is going to be another defensive. He's an offensive defenseman? That doesn't sound right to me. Curtis Foster. Like, am I just confusing you with somebody else? Offensive defenseman. Oh, so he did have 42 points that year. By defensive standards, that's not too bad. Am I allowed to quickly see? Yeah, here we go. Let's take a look. Amongst defensemen, How did he do in terms of points? I mean, he was up there. He's 20th. He was tied for 20th with the likes of Rafalski. I mean, he did it in fewer games. I still don't know if I would have gone total offensive defenseman for him, because you look at like Mike Green being over a point per game. That makes sense. But I guess it's not like the craziest turn of events. The question is, do we still want him as an OFD? He does have a heavy shot. Two-way might be better if we can get him to switch. But he does have that super hard shot. All right, Curtis. Your goal for the season. Okay, you're not scoring 30 goals. 5 power play goals for seeing eye, though? I mean, maybe. Maybe. I mean, he is a defenseman. That's probably not going to happen, but let's see. On ice play, position. Can we get you to develop to a lefty? He's at least willing to try. That's good. Can we switch you to a two-way? I feel like that's probably better for him. He's willing to try. That's good. Let's see if we can make Curtis Foster a bit of a better fit for the team. Victor Hedman, listed as a two-way, which is totally fair. Goal for the year, again, is going to be very tough because we can't actually set him to outright try to win Rookie of the Year or something like that. So the only thing that we'll do for Victor, because it does make sense to try and get him to develop a little bit, is we'll go for a stat challenge. We'll go for 30 assists. If he hits that, then we're in a pretty good spot. We add right D to what you got going on. No, he's not willing to try to play the other side. That's fine. Paul Ranger, old primetime Paul, listed as a two-way. 30 assists, but the text said 20. Oof. I don't know if I agree with Paul being a two-way. I mean, he's got a heavy shot. I think he's probably a better defensive defenseman. That skating is not as impressive as I was hoping to see. So your goal here, just try to block some shots. And we are going to try to set you up as a defensive defenseman. He's not willing to listen. It's not great, because, again, he is not the best skater on the team. All right. Paul is not being very cooperative. That's a shame. Mike Lundeen, already listed as a defensive defenseman. Good. Clearly, that's what he's best at. Same thing. It's a little bit tedious, but if we can get him to improve his, his shot blocking, just even as, something as simple as that, improve the overall a little bit. And then position, can we get you to play the other side? No, he's not willing to try. Okay. The good thing is we won't have much to set up in the AHL. And then Matt Walker, also a defensive defenseman, rightfully so. That's all he brings is some physicality and defensive play. He is a depth defenseman, so only thing we really need to try to get him to do is be willing to play the left side. And he's at least willing to give it a shot, so that's nice. AHL-wise, did we have any defensemen that we cared about? There is David Hale, who is a defensive defenseman. See if we can get him to play right D. But again, so many of these guys are just career AHLers. We're not even going to talk to them. It's not even worth it. So, but for some of these guys that might make a bit of an impact at the NHL level, we should at least look. Matt Smobby, yeah, same thing. Just see if we can get him to add the other defensive side to what he's got going on. At least some of these guys are willing to listen. We got that going for us. And then Matt Lashoff, low 7th. Again, I love me some Matt Lashoff, but it's not looking too good. It's looking too good. In real life, he really didn't stick around the NHL for too long. Yeah, it's not looking too good there. Okay. Was there anybody else? Mark Barbario's in junior, unsigned. So that's it for that. Martin St. Louis, 34 years old. Listed as a playmaker, rightfully so. Already has gold wheels. For Marty, season goal, award or X Factor, probably X Factor. 3 hat tricks, 40 assists for third eye. That should be a slam dunk. It's Martin St. Louis, 40 assists. I mean, come on. Again, playmaker's perfect. Are you willing to add left wing? Just give me a few more options on the power play and stuff with chemistry. Just willing to try. It's good. Thank you, Marty. I'm going to treat you with respect, unlike the Lightning at the end. Steve Downey, you scum sucker. Listed as a power forward. I don't see him ever being, I mean, maybe. I don't really see him being this crazy offensive threat. Let's take a look at 2 things with him. Position, can we add left wing? He's willing to try. Can we change that player type at all? Can we change that player type? I mean, grinder would be a good fit. We can keep him in the bottom 6 because I feel like that's his ceiling. And he is willing to try to become a grinder. In case he stays at power forward, then damn it, try to score 30 goals. Otherwise, I'm probably trading you. Brandon Bochenski is listed as a sniper, which, yeah, that is the best aspect of his game. He's just not very good at it. Tell him to score some goals, right? The worst that can happen is that he doesn't score them. But maybe he does. 30 goals, Brandon Bochenski. High hopes. And then Adam Hall. Very, very good center. Center right wing's perfect. He's listed as a 2-way. Good. Yeah. Maybe argue grinder, but that's good. Season goal for you will just be a basic stat challenge. If you can be like a plus 15 this year in the bottom 6. Quick and easy. In the system, nobody outside of Richard Panik, who we're not even going to talk to. I guess technically Mark Parrish. We might want to try to adjust a little bit. Listed as a sniper, which, yeah, I mean, is not much good at anything else. See if we can add left wing to what you got going on. Not willing to listen. All right, cool. Well, that's it for Mark Parrish. Left wing side, Alex Tanguay. Listed as a first line forward. Playmaker makes a lot of sense. Maybe start to argue 2-way a little bit. Right wing and try to develop an X factor if we can. All right, so we'll try to learn right wing. And goal for the season for the former member of the Avalanche, the Flames. I mean, he bounced around quite a bit. 40 assists, third eye. Like to think it'd be easy. He's probably going to be playing with Marty. Ryan Malone has a no movement clause and a 6-year contract. Holy. Well, get used to seeing Ryan Malone on this team. I said I needed a cap whale. I already have one. Jesus. He's listed as a power forward, which, yeah, I mean, I guess works. A little bit more put together than Steve Downey. Damn. All right. Well, only thing is position. Let me get you to add right wing. He is at least willing to try. Season goal. Try to score some goals, man. You're going to be here. You're going to be a power forward. Try to score some goals. Fucking Stefan Veilleux. Oh, my God. He is listed as a two-way, which is perfect. You can maybe argue grinder, but his aggression isn't up there. His body checking is. His two-way is perfect. Just try to add right wing. Get some more versatility. Position for Stefan Veilleux. You know, at least a lot of these guys are willing to try and listen. That's a positive. Stat challenge for Veilleux. We'll just go off with a plus-minus for defensive awareness. Nothing crazy. Todd Fedoruk. Enforcer, yeah. No doubt about that. Can't really do much for anything else. There's no real season goals you can attach for someone being an enforcer and like, hey, hit a lot or try to develop truculence. So Todd Fedoruk is just what Todd Fedoruk is. And then Alex Killorn is at left wing center. Has a long way to go to develop at center. We're going to be sending him back down to the AHL anyway, so there's not much to do for Alex Killorn. But in the system, the only one to really care about here is Teddy Purcell. With respect to one James Wright, I mean, it's a low bottom six. We'll see. We can always talk to him later. So Teddy Purcell, listed as a depth forward. He's a playmaker, which is fair. Left wing, right wing, which is good. Nothing I can really tell him to do. He's fine. And then the centers, Vinny Lecavalier. 8 years, full no trade clause, all 8 years. The Michael Jordan of hockey. And I don't think we'll be sending him to Philly or anything like that. He is listed as a sniper, which is good. He needs to be. Listed as a center, which is appropriate. Full adaptability. Can we add left wing as a secondary? He's willing to listen, so that's good. Do love me some Vinny Lecavalier. And then goal for the season. We are going to X Factor. And we are looking at quick draw. Let's go quick draw. Make him that much better at faceoffs. Baby Stamkos, 19 years young, also listed as a sniper, which is perfect. Has center right wing already. He's got full abilities. Only thing we can instruct him to do is a stat challenge of just score goals and improve your shooting by that much more. 40 goals, 50 goals. Let's go 40 goals. We'll see if Stammer can hit that. So top six, I mean, between the centers is going to be pretty good. Nate Thompson, listed as a two-way, which is perfect. Only thing we can really do here is see if he is willing to become a left wing as a secondary, which he is willing to listen, so that's good. And again, season goal, we will aim for the plus-minus for defensive awareness. I don't mind the shape of this team. Zenon Konopka, hell of a face-off taker, is an enforcer. Pretty much not going to change that. Best you could change it to grinder, but I don't know if he'd be willing to change. Can we add left wing as a secondary position? No, we can't. In terms of play style, looks like we could go for grinder. He's just not a very good skater. I think we are going to leave him as an enforcer. That's what he was, obviously. So, who was the other? It was Todd Fedoruk. He's also not a very good skater. So, relying on him to like be able to have the speed to get into the corners, not going to happen. And then Ryan Craig, center left wing, is good. He's listed as a power forward. Only thing we can really tell him to do is just try to have a good plus minus. And that is pretty much that. Don't know what this bottom 6 is going to be because they are set up to be very physical. Like Paul Shashura, Blair Jones, not bad. Dana Terrell, center left wing, listed as a 2-way. No notes. Cool. Cool. So let's get through the preseason and see what we're dealing with after that physicality training goes through, because obviously we have a lot of grit on this team, and they're about to get even more gritty. I do want to see where certain players sign, though. So let's see. Looking for the big names. Richard Zednik to Anaheim. Michael Nylander to Pittsburgh. Fedorov back to Anaheim. Eric Malik to Buffalo. Radek Bonk to the Stars. Marcus Naslund to Philly. Zubov to Carolina. Forsberg to Montreal. Jaromir Jagr is a Blue Jacket. Fair enough. Like I said, I was perfectly fine with other teams getting kind of first shot. Ooh, Scott Darling and Antti Ranta out there for goalies, but man, they need a lot of work. Who's out there for defensemen? Chris Chelios. No prospects. And then forward prospects, Martin Karsums. I mean, Karsums might not be the worst signing. He's not much of a cap wheel, though. Aside from that, it's Kozlov. I do already have too many damn people that I have to sign. Chris Chelios is a cap whale. Might not be the worst idea. Based on the roster space, let's sign Antti Ranta. We'll try to get him to develop. And then defensively, let's bring in Chris Chelios and just sign him to about 6 mil, 5. Yeah, that's good. We'll bring in Chris Chelios. And that way we know we are more than cap compliant. So down goes Chelios. And we'll see what happens with this training going through. Once we get to the season opener against Colorado. Right. So the final version of our roster for Season 1. We got Smith and Nittymaki. It'll be Tokarski and Ranta down in the AHL. Oland, Mazzaros, Hedman, all legitimate top fours. With Foster, Ranger, Lundin, Walker. We will call up Chris Chelios to be the depth defenseman on the team. And then San Luis, Downey, Hall, Bochenski ends up being a depth forward, as is Parrish. Left wing side, Malone, Tanguay, Veilleux, Fedoruk. Of course, we got to send down Killorn. And then centers, the Cavalier, Stamkos, Craig Thompson, and Konopka. Okay. That should work. So what do we look like from a chemistry perspective? Tanguay, Le Cavalier, San Luis. Honestly, I think put Ryan Malone with Le Cavalier and San Luis. Gives Malone a good chance to score. And then you have Tanguay with Stamkos and Downey. Downey's still a power forward. Could provide some protection as well. Stammer and Tanguay working together. Tanguay, whatever you prefer, is a first liner, though. So maybe Ryan Malone can fit the bill. But I think if we keep Alex on the top power play, he'll be all right. Let's see. We got Todd Fedoruk as a scratch, which is not what we want. All right. So, yeah, to Bochenski. I'll take you out for Todd Fedoruk. Positionally, we might not be able to have the perfect kind of setup I was hoping for, but it is what it is. It takes so long now for some of this information to load. It's crazy. Power forward, enforcer. Two-way. Who the hell was the power forward? It wasn't Craig. Oh, it was Craig. So Fedoric, Konopka, Vayu. Not Vayu. Do we have a grinder? Yeah, shit. Maybe Craig is on the fourth line. Do what we got to do. That works. And Stefan Vayu, Nate Thompson, Adam Hall. It's a very gritty bottom six, some good skill in the top six, and then defensively, we want to take out Chris Chelios. Get Mike Lundin back in there. Who is going to play on that top unit with Victor Hedman? Hedman is a two-way. Chemistry-wise, I mean, Oland makes a lot of sense. Ours is a two-way. Go Lundin and Foster. I'm surprised they don't have better chemistry. Foster, he's a top six. So what if we go Mazzaros and Ranger? Lundin and Foster. It's not bad. It's not totally ideal, but it's not bad. And then power play, the Cavalier, Tanguay, St. Louis. I will have to optimize that, but I don't know. I don't know how good or bad this team will be. It kind of depends on what the other teams look like.